Star Wars explains everything you need to know about practicing music. What in the world do I mean about this? I had this realization maybe about, I don't know, 10 years ago. Wow, that sounds like a long time. Oh well, everyone in their 30s can realize we're getting old. Anyway, bear with me here. Star Wars. How does it relate to music making, piano, getting better at your instrument, such and such? Well, there's a dark side and there's a light side. The Force is a really good analogy for the mystery and the science, not the science, sorry, the art of really playing music, the experience of playing music. How do you get better at music? I have wondered this and pondered and worked really hard on this for my entire life. I started piano when I was 7 and I've practiced it the entire time. It's a huge part of my life, always has been. And I feel like I have come up with this analogy to explain a change in my thinking right at the end of college, beginning of my professional career after college. And that is, if you start to learn piano in a very traditional way from traditional teachers back in the late 90s, early 2000s, they mostly gave you negative incentives, negative teaching structures, critical teaching structures. What do I mean by that? They just tell you, no, that sucked. No, that was bad. No, stop. And then you get better by not doing the bad things. This ends up becoming kind of a dark side-esque teaching philosophy. And what do I mean by that? It means that you learn to channel your negative emotions, your anger, your rage, your fear, your sadness, and you use them to motivate you. You end up playing because you don't want to suck. Now, anybody who is a professional musician is raising their hand and going, what in the world is wrong with that? That's actually how I got through college. That's literally what made me the amazing musician that I am today. Now, again, think about Star Wars for a second. Are the dark side, are they weak? They're totally not weak. And they're not portrayed as such in the Star Wars universe. They are total badasses and they crush. They're insanely strong. And I would say the same thing is true. It is such a huge motivator. Literally, I credit it for how I got into college. I went and played for someone right before college. It was someone my mom knew who was her musical mentor, and he literally said, you don't have what it takes. This was in August, and I was going to be auditioning that December. So only a couple more months. And he was like, you should think about a different career. There's no way you could do piano performance. Maybe you could do composition. You're a bright kid, but you do not have the talent, the skills, anything to be able to do piano performance. That pissed me off. I got angry and I just practiced and practiced and practiced and practiced because I was going, I'm going to show him, I'm going to show everybody I have what it takes. Fast forward, I audition, I get basically a full ride to play piano at a university. That is the power of raw anger and rage and trying to prove people wrong about what they think about you. There's a lot of amazing things about that, but it's not the whole story. So now let's fast forward to the end of college / after college. The pressure's starting to let off, right? I've gotten my senior recital done. My last year of college, my life changed significantly to the better. I met my now wife. I was only quarter time. I literally just was doing piano lessons and ensemble instead of all those crazy classes you have to take in college. And what I started realizing is the more I let my foot off the accelerator, the rage accelerator, intensity accelerator, not the worse I got at piano, the better I got at piano. And I started to realize that it wasn't that I wasn't caring too much. It's that my intensity was pushing on the wrong places. So let's imagine that you're really intense. You're like, I have to get better at this. Well, did you see what I just did? When I was even doing that, my arm started tensing up. When you have that mental intensity coming out of you, it's going to naturally go into your body and form this intensity that seizes up every single one of your joints. You're going to start to have to work against your own physiology to be able to play fast, soft, have a huge dynamic range, because all of the intensity drivers mentally are going to naturally translate into physical symptoms. This is what happens with really anxious people, right? They have physical manifestations of their mental state. So what does it mean to be on the light side when you're talking about music? Well, again, go back to the way Jedi are depicted in Star Wars. They're depicted as being aloof, almost stoic, right? Almost above it all, or just not even part of the equation. Like almost to the point where they don't even seem that compassionate or human because they're not so interested in things. Now, I think there's a lot to be learned about that, but it's not entirely the whole story. We do still want to be emotional. We want to be connected to the music. But the detachment piece is a huge one to actually achieve that. If you really think about it, if you are so into the piece, every note is so precious, and you're really concentrating, and you're really intense and focusing everything in, how is that supposed to be effortless? How are you supposed to convey the greater emotional state? How are you supposed to convey a bigger phrase? How are you supposed to do the emotional turns on a dime that are necessary in so many pieces of music? You can't. So in many ways, people talk about being in the zone, or talk about almost an outer body experience where it's not them playing the piano, it's someone else and they're just observing it. All of these things remind me so much of the way that the light side of the Force is described in Star Wars. What we really want to be cultivating is a healthy detachment and kind of a permission to love oneself in many ways. And this is probably where the Star Wars analogy breaks down, because again, if you read all the light side stuff, they become so stoic that there's a lot of, avoiding any emotion, because if you love something, then you're going to end up hating another thing. And I can see some glimpses of that, how that applies to piano. Like if you really want to play a piece really well, that's a good thing, right? It can lead to anger and self-hatred because you're missing notes. But instead, if you're able to detach and go, it's okay to make mistakes, that's fine, then you can really make some helpful progress on the piece. But at the same time, this is the point that I want to stress with light side practicing, and I would highly encourage you to try light side practicing for yourself. And that is, instead of getting so intense and going, I must play this right, go, isn't this just a pleasure to play the piano? Don't I just enjoy this time? Isn't this just fun? Am I having a good time? Ask yourself that. Because if the answer is no, how in the world are you supposed to be doing this every day in, day out, to get to the goals that you want to do? And the answer is you're not going to. So I guess where I'm going to end up with this dark side, light side analogy is really, are you having a good time when you're practicing? Really ask yourself that. And really challenge this presupposition that most of us, especially in the professional world, have, that the only way to get really good at music is to get really negative about oneself and just to push hard and kind of hate what you're doing unless you're perfect. I'm Robert Monroe. I hope you enjoyed this video, and check out the other videos I have. Like and subscribe. It all super helps, and thanks so much, and have a great day.